listening to what other people want from you and what other people think is best for you, or like what everybody thinks, because we're all trying to fit in, right, all the time. But at that age, it's so strong that you feel you're going to die if you don't belong, if you don't find a place that you belong. And in that search of belonging, we lose ourselves sometimes because we think that we need to be like everybody else. We forget that we came here as a beautiful, unique individual with something so beautiful inside of us, our gifts, our talents, something that we came here to do. And for me, it took me so long to reconnect with that part of myself, because I too got lost into the trying to do life the way that life was supposed to be.
Hi, my name is Zenka Caro. I'm founder of LightNet and the Purpose Lab. And my passion and purpose in life is to completely erase the word impossible from our minds. I'm here today with Laura Peña. She is part of the Purpose Lab and helping to interview all of these genius people in the world who have found their calling in life. And she certainly has. Born in the Dominican Republic, she left to study in the United States and created a very successful motion design studio in New York City, working for clients like MasterCard, Facebook, Samsung. And then she had a moment where, when she returned to her country, she had a dream that said, she is the universe. And she thought about it. And when she returned to her country, she actually was able to see young girls free. And she wondered to herself, when is that moment where we give up on our dreams? And she's created this incredible company. She is the universe. And she traveled to 5 continents for 3 years, interviewing young girls, the future of our future, and asking them what their dreams are and what they needed to make their dreams come true. Laura Peña is pure sunshine, and you'll experience this during her interview.
My passion, my purpose, why I came into this world is to support the next generation of teenage girls, because I believe they're going to be a very key, important part of our next evolution as humans, as where we're going. I feel like we need them, and they've been left behind. And so my job is to, and what I feel like I'm here to do, is to support them so that they can rise up and meet us all there. The word support came to me as part of a video series that I started a few years ago, where I decided that I wanted to go around the world interviewing 111 girls and ask them about their dreams, about their passions, their purpose, and also how can we help them get there. And the answer that they will give me was support. And at that point, I was a filmmaker. I was as a animator, video person. I was in media, but I realized that really what I came here to do was to support this generation. And so I started to ask them, what is that support to you? What does support means to you? And what they described was they just needed people to believe in them, but also to believe that they know what's best for them. That to trust that they know what they want and what is their path. Because a lot of the times we feel, especially with young people and our children, is that we know better because they're young. But I feel like we all come equipped with some sort of like radar, some sort of like compass that already is guiding us if we learn how to trust it. So my job as supporting is to help them believe in themselves and connect with that part of themselves that it's already guiding them, because they already know the way. So my job is to just help them see it. So this compass is our intuition. Is this part of us, especially with this, for women, this part of us that tells us what is right for us. And that for me as a traveler, that tells me when I was in the wrong place and when I could trust people. And a lot of the times we learn as women in many societies that it's not okay to trust ourselves, and especially to trust our bodies. And intuition has to do a lot with this intelligence of the body. And when we stop trusting our bodies, basically we stop trusting ourselves too. And this compass is just our intuition. In the more I hear this word support, apoyo, in different languages, different cultures, I went to every single continent. And I what I decided, because of what happened in 2020, where the world basically stands still, I couldn't travel anymore. So I decided to bring those girls that I've met together and invite other girls around the world to come together and connect with each other and talk about what was happening uh, in that moment. And that evolved into a more complex, now a nonprofit, where we do educational programs for girls to learn how to connect with themselves, but also just learn about who they are. Like our programs go from me, who am I, we, who am I in relationship to my community, and the world, which is, what is my role within all of this, and how can I make the world a better place. There's so much noise in the world. There's so many people telling us what we're supposed to believe, what we're supposed to do with our lives, who we are supposed to be, that we forget. And in that age, when you're that young, that's when, like, if there's a study that talks about how girls lose their confidence when they're in their, like, from the ages to 8 to 15, so in between the teenage years. And that has a lot to do with, we start losing, the voices in our head become the voices of other people, and we stop trusting that. We start putting more weight into what other people think about us. We try to belong, because belonging is such a huge thing for us, like food, like air. We need belonging. So at that age, when you start to try to belong, and you start listening to what other people want from you and what other people think is best for you, or like what everybody thinks, because we're all trying to fit in, right, all the time. But at that age, it's so strong that you feel you're going to die if you don't belong, if you don't find a place that you belong. And in that search of belonging, we lose ourselves sometimes, because we think that we need to be like everybody else. We forget that we came here as a beautiful, unique individual with something so beautiful inside of us, our gifts, our talents, something that we came here to do. And for me, it took me so long to reconnect with that part of myself, because I too got lost into the trying to do life the way that life was supposed to be, so that I could also fit in. How I discovered what I wanted to do is a very interesting thing to think about, because a lot of people ask me that. That's one of the first questions that I get. And I see it a little differently. We think that we have to have, and not for everybody, right? For some people, there's just one moment that happens, and then maybe what's next. For me, it was a sequence. It was a set series. It was a series. For me, it was a set of moments. And the first moment was in 2012. I had a dream, a literal dream. I was sleeping, and I wake up with the name She's the Universe in my head, and I didn't know what to do with this. This was so strange for me, but I trusted it. I didn't know how to trust myself then, but I bought a domain name. I took action in the way that I knew how to take action. And it wasn't until 2014 when my life fell apart. I got divorced. I quit my job that year. I moved from New York City. I was in New York City for many years, and basically it changed my entire life. And in that search, I just continued to find people in my path that taught me something. And but really, if I were to find one moment where everything changed, I was telling someone yesterday how It happened in the town where I am right now. It's called Cabarete in the Dominican Republic, which is interesting because after traveling the world for so many years, coming back to my own country and feeling so at home here, um, because this is where I found it. I came in 2016 to bring friends. They wanted to volunteer at an organization that works with girls, and I was just there to translate. But I entered this space, and girls were running around, and they were free, and they were laughing, and I thought, wow, I can believe that there is a place in the world, especially in my country, where girls can feel free. And of course, I didn't know what I was going to do with that, but I know I started crying. They were giving us a tour of the space, and I just couldn't stop crying. And I knew then that something, there was something there for me, but I wasn't sure yet. And there are many moments after it happened that kind of reveal a little more and reveal a little more. This idea of having, having a nonprofit was something that was not in my mind at all. I'm in media. I'm a designer. I make things, but it happens so organically and it happens so beautifully. And I've been following that intuition in my heart, because the heart knows, right? Like this is all a system of inner knowing that if you learn how to listen to it, it can be very, very powerful. It's taken a while, and I'm learning how to trust it more and more. But I feel like not just one moment, but every single moment, I feel like has been like a little seed that has been planted, and this plant is growing. So this is how I know when something is meant for me. Sometimes I'm struggling to take the next step, and everything that I try feels like it's like leading me to a dead end. And in my process of creating She's the Universe as a nonprofit, I felt like I was making films, and I was having such a hard time making the films. And I have all of this wonderful content, and I couldn't sit in front of a computer, even if my life depended on it, to edit a video, right? But this is what I've done my whole life. And at the same time, I'm creating these like beautiful girl circles where we're connecting with each other globally. And I have like these two worlds, right? Like this idea of what I was before and this new thing that is growing. And I start asking everybody that I know that runs a nonprofit, tell me about your experience with this. And every time that I talk to someone, I was like, I don't know, that's not for me. That seems like a lot of work. That seems so hard. I don't want to do that. I don't know anything about that world. And then I keep finding new people who will like ask me, oh, why don't you make this a nonprofit? And I was like, I don't know. I talked to so and so, and they're like, yeah, but that's not the whole story. So as I continue to meet new people, I met this wonderful woman called Laura Rose, and I applied for a grant, and she was part of this grant. She was a mentor for me. And one day she asked me, would you like to make this into a nonprofit? And I was like, wow, that's so interesting that you asked me that. Like everybody seems to be, something seems to be leading me there, but I don't feel like that's for me. Like I don't know, right? And so this was like, I thought, you could think that that's your intuition telling you, but that's actually my mind, my logical mind. Like I don't know anything about that, right? But my heart is pulling me in a different direction, and people I keep meeting are asking me about this. And so through Purpose Earth and through this organization that Laura Rose is part of, they support us into becoming a nonprofit. And the process was so easy. We were at 501c3 within like 6 months, which is like a great thing to do as a nonprofit. And we were just like up and running. Like suddenly we were a nonprofit, we're doing all the things, people started like showing up to support. And I feel like that's when when things start flowing like that. If things are stuck, sometimes we need to learn things. But if everything that you're doing you keep like bumping into a dead end, maybe there's something else that wants your attention. And maybe what you think is your intuition is just your logic. Like in my case, that was my logic telling me, no, you cannot do that. My insecurity is like, what do you know about this? You don't know anything about it. Of course I didn't know anything because I've never done it before, but now I do. I've been doing it for 2 years and it's been great. I mean, I'm learning every day, and that's amazing. And I'm serving girls. And every time that I find myself in this and a crossroad, which I feel like I am now, um, I keep asking myself, what do you want, heart? Like I touch my heart and I ask, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And pause, because taking it slow and pausing when we're in the middle of trying to make a big decision, it's huge. It can make a big difference. I think the biggest challenge for me of living my purpose is that I have, before I started doing this, I had an identity of who I was. And this identity combined with what the world around me is telling me that is the right thing to do. I'm living a very unconventional life for me to be able to do what I do right now. And I think the challenge, the hardest part is to know in your heart what's next, and to know, yes, this is something I want to do, but even like I have doubts because I don't know the how. And I think that sometimes we get stuck in the how we're going to do it, instead of focusing on the why I want to do it. So I sometimes I get hung up into the how, into, I'm an action taker. So it's like, I want to know what's next. And I want to have like, I want to have a book with all the answers. And I remember there's no book, there's no right answers. And there's only one little step that you take and another little step that you take. And then those steps, then one day you look back and then there's a road that you built yourself. And yes, there are a lot of challenges, especially when you're trying to dismantle an identity of who you thought you were, and you start embracing who you truly are and who you came here to be. There's going to be people um, who are not going to understand, and sometimes those people are people who are really close to you, and that's what hurts the most. But in my case, my family is super supportive. They're really, really supportive, but not everybody understands what I'm doing, and sometimes that's hard because I sometimes don't know how to explain it. I just know it, and I've learned to be okay with that. To know that not everybody's going to understand, and that's okay. People can support you even if they don't understand what you're doing. So right now, I'm in this place, really into. Um, I've been in two worlds, right? Into the world of the person I was, and into this new world of the person who I am becoming. And this woman of being of service to the world and to girls. And the other me is this person who graduated from art school. And I'm having a hard time marrying those two parts of me. And because I feel like, well, I feel like in a way I've done so well with what I'm doing, and yet at the same time I wish things move faster, but sometimes they're moving at the exact same speed. Right now I feel like, yeah, it's hard for me to let go of that part of me that that I know so well, that knows how to make money so well, that knows how to be human in this world where we actually need money to do all the things that I want to do, that we all want to do. And at the beginning it's very scary because I've been in that place many times, and I feel like I'm in a different level of that scare, and I'm like at this edge, looking down and being like, okay, I've done this before, because we've all done this before in one way or another. We've made big choices in life at some point, and we're still here. But I forget, and I look down and I'm like, wow, there's such a big void. And um, it's very scary. So I get how scary this can be, but also what I'm learning is to trust that I know, and that then it will appear. That this week alone I've been wondering, what am I doing with my life? This is, yes, I'm following my passion. Yes, this is great, but I also, it's hard to let go that other part of me. And yet I just came today from interviewing a woman who might be the next president of the Dominican Republic. Maybe I'm too optimistic, but I was with my camera filming this woman and asking questions of her, and And even though that is very different from the person that I was before, and that it's hard for me to let go of the certainty of getting, a paycheck and knowing how to do something really well, and then going into this world that I'm still very new and trusting. It's hard, but it's so beautiful and rewarding, and I'm trusting. Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to talk about those things. Sometimes it's hard to talk about the hard things because I want to. This is interesting. I want to give people hope, and I want to be like, no, once you jump into your purpose, everything is going to be fine, and you're going to be okay, and you're going to figure it out right away. And the other day I was telling one of the girls, I was like, you know what, I'm going to continue going. I'm going to figure it out a way to make this sustainable, because I want to show you that it's possible. And she was like, Laura, it doesn't matter, like, we see you, and in the struggle, and when you share the struggle, that's where actually I feel like you're human, and we can actually be inspired by you. So even though it's hard to share the moments of what am I doing with my life, I think that is also, it might help someone, or so I hope. I feel like there are many paths to find your purpose, but I found two. I got goosebumps. So I think this is true. I get goosebumps when something is true. Um, there's, for me, two main paths. One is through your joy. What makes you so happy that you want to do it all the time? You just want to do this, and you feel that you are meant to do this, and this is wonderful. Another path for me to get into that purpose is to find what breaks your heart. What is it that when you see it, you feel like, someone should do something about that? And then you do it. Um, for me, is to see women and girls who are amazing but cannot see their own brilliance. And that heartbreak led to this. It was not a joyful thing. It was just the heartbreak of like, wow, I why are there not more women leaders? Why are women not feeling free? Why? And in um, that search led to my purpose. That heartbreak. So let the heartbreak, let it break, let it break, let it break. In the moments where I'm feeling like, what am I doing with my life? Is this even making a difference for anybody? I go back to a little folder that I have that is called for the folder, like a folder of love in my computer. And it is all the messages that I receive almost every day from girls telling me how something that I say, or something that I did, or something that we did as an organization made a difference in their lives. I've seen girls, because of the community that we are creating. And when I say we're creating, it means I put myself out there, and attracted amazing people who are now creating amazing things. So I have to always remember that because I put myself out there, because I'm following this purpose, people are their lives are changing, and I can see it with their words all the time. And I can see it. Recently, we had a girl, and she's from the Dominican Republic, and she just got, after 2 years of struggling, she came into our organization, and she's had many roles. She came to a retreat that we did, and she became part of our staff and part of our programs. And this year, she got a scholarship to go to South Korea to be a spatial engineer. And I had a conversation with her recently, and she was telling me how impactful it has been, my mentorship in her life. And if I wouldn't be following this path, I would have never met her. And probably she couldn't have the support that she has had this year to be able to do all the things that she's about to do in the world. If everybody was living in their passions, I think that we will have no war. we will be at peace. We will imagine, like, if everybody follow this thing that is in their heart, their dreams, their passions, their purpose, there will be no time for anything else. We will. This is why I do what I do. When I was asking girls about their dreams, is because I wanted them to get in touch with them. Because if we all pursue that thing that is calling us, everything will be different. Everything will be different. Will be heaven on earth. It is possible. I think it is possible. Yeah, I can see it. Like, I see it. Like, if I close my eyes, I don't know how to say it in words. This is why it was hard for me to find the words, because I was like, how come people don't see it? Like, it's so there. Like, if we were all following our purpose, if we were all following that thing that is that fire in us, there will be no need for um, fights, because we will see into each other, because we will be happy. Like, happiness is completely, um, not even happiness, joy is so connected to doing what you came here to do. I just want to say that, for those that maybe they are curious about something, they're like, wow, but I don't know what my purpose is. Like, but I'm sure you have things that you're curious about. So you can start there. Like, follow those curiosities. Follow what are you interested in right now? Um, and go try that, because that might lead you to the next thing, that will lead you to the next thing, that might lead you to your beautiful, beautiful purpose.